when you look at all the zeros, as far as a 50, a 100, 200, and even a 300, they're all about the same inside of 25 yards. So I've found that when I'm zeroing, if I just get the correct height over bore at 25 yards, then when I go to actually zero, it's easier. We're gonna be doing a down and dirty how to zero your rifle video. This is the way I go about it when I pick up a rifle. The thing that's different about this is I see a lot of times people print out targets that have the math in them, and they'll be like, hey, at this distance, the round should be impacting here, and that's equal to a 0 at this other distance. That's fine, but if you never actually zero at the distance and confirm, then you don't know for sure. So my philosophy is, if I want a 50-yard zero, I need to zero at 50 yards. And the other thing that I see too is people buy like the things where they got a bore laser and then they try to use that and then they bring it out to the range. Honestly, I see it as a waste of time. So the way I got laid out here, we have a little dot for 5 yards, a little bit bigger square for 10 yards, and then about 1-inch squares for 25 yards. And then when we go back to 50, we got these bigger squares for 50 yards. So with the 5, 10, and 25, what I'm trying to do is get correct height over bore. I'll make one shot adjustments as long as I know that shot was good. If the shot was shitty, I'll shoot again, all right? But about height over bore at 5, it'll come up just a little bit at 10, but I can make a finer adjustment. And if it looks good, like, hey, it's in about the right area, I'll make another adjustment. I'll move on to 25. Then at 25 with a 2.26-inch height optic, it'll be about 1.5 inches low at 25. Then I'll go back to 50 and I'll actually zero the gun, but this will get me a lot closer when I get to 50 instead of having to make a long trip to and from 50 or having to use a spying scope or something like that. I like this method. Also, it's just like when you look at all the zeros, as far as a 50, a 100, 200, and even a 300, they're all about the same inside of 25 yards. So I've found that when I'm zeroing, if I just get the correct height over bore at 25 yards, then when I go to actually zero, it's easier. So we'll go through it. First thing I'll say is take off both of your scope caps and put them in a spot where you won't lose them. I've lost these ones, all right? So I had to take a scope cap off of another gun just for this video, and I'm just gonna keep that in my left pocket to make my adjustments. So now I'm gonna shoot at 5 yards. Okay, so shot is slightly to the right. So when you got that little arrow and it says like this way right, this way left, that's talking about the direction you want to move the bullet. So I'm gonna crank it pretty hard left. Like I'm gonna do a half rotation. Well, we'll do a quarter rotation left. So I'm not really counting the clicks because I am up so close. Now the height, I'm not that worried about. So I'll show the target real quick and then we'll go back to 10 yards. Right there. And if I get correct height over bore, I'll show you where my muzzle is. All right, so right there I can see my dot in the target, and then it's slightly high. So I'm gonna expect that at 10 yards, the bullet's probably gonna be up here, and if that's the case, I'll just drive it down. All right, so the bullet went just where I expected it to go. And that means we're gonna have to do a significant adjustment downward. Now, I didn't feel the shot pull left when I took it. So I'm also gonna bring it to the right just slightly. We'll say like, I'll do 6 clicks right, okay? But I'm gonna do a half rotation down. Now with that, At 25, we're looking for about 1.5 inches low. So now we'll go back to 25. All right, if I pulled that shot, I pulled it slightly high. So now go to the target and look at it. This is also where having a spotting scope is super awesome, because you could just use that. Now, some guys will be like, oh, I use a magnifier when I zero. I would advise you do not use a magnifier when you zero, because when you use a magnifier when you zero, you're introducing more parallax. And so you may think your zero is good, knock that magnifier out of the way, and now it's off because it's zeroed for a magnifier, not for just the optic. So I tell people, zero the optic and then adjust the magnifier so the zero is still true when you're using the magnifier. So basically you would zero this, then flip up the magnifier and shoot with the magnifier, make adjustments on the magnifier until there's no parallax introduced and your bolts still go where they're supposed to when there's no magnifier. All right, now, round was pretty high, so we're gonna do a full rotation now, and we're gonna do, we'll do 6 more to the right. Now, I may have fucked up the direction I moved it last time, trying to move it down. No, I didn't. Okay, looking at the thing, no, I didn't. But that happens. I've done it a million times, and you will too. Just be forgiving on yourself. If you're ever really confused, it might be that. Another thing, before you start zeroing, give it a little shake. If that shit's loose, you're wasting your time. Mount it properly, lock tight. I did move it correctly the first time, but it being there, a half rotation at 25 brought it up there. So I did a full rotation, okay? It's where it's like, when the adjustment's that big, I just think like full, half, and quarter rotations. I don't necessarily sit there and count the clicks, because that also makes it take forever. Okay, we'll shoot at 25 again. Just gotta do a super really good shot so that we know that what we're seeing on paper is the correct results. If you do a shitty shot, then you should shoot again. It's one of the reasons why, like when I was in the Marine Corps, we would make like 5-shot groups and adjust off that, because generally fucking people suck at shooting. So let's put 5 out there and we have more data points to move the zero around with. Now this is where like having a spotting scope would be totally awesome. The full rotation brought it all the way down here. Now, one thing to keep in mind, sometimes you'll make adjustments and it just won't fucking move. So potentially with this one, it didn't move at all when I adjusted it. And then I did a full rotation and then it got the last movement and it jumped all the way. I've got one hollow sun where it's like to the right, it's like nothing, 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 nothing. And then it just boom, shoots way off to the right. And then I have to move it back. And then when I have to move to the right again, it's like nothing, 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 nothing. And then it'll just jump right. So that's something to keep in mind too, especially with like budget optics. It's one of the reasons why I don't really do the math on it. I'm just like, fucking, we'll start counting once we get close. But you can do the math if you want. I just don't bother, because a lot of times it's like, if it's not a super expensive optic, it doesn't matter in the first place. The adjustments aren't exactly accurate. But now, based off that, if we were to bracket it, well, let's go half rotation up. So that was a full rotation, right? And if we were to cut that in half, it'd be right about where I want it. I would also want it to move more right. So I'll do 6 more clicks to the right and a half rotation up. That one felt slightly high right. So I'm gonna relax and I'll do another shot just to be sure. So this is a part of calling your shots too. That matters a lot, especially when zeroing. All right, now if that one was shitty, it was slightly high. Now I'm not that worried about getting down in the prone and everything right now, because we're just trying to get height over bore. This ain't nothing crazy. Okay, All right, now let's look at what we see. One to the right, and then one right here. So I called it high right. Maybe I pulled it down slightly as I broke the shot. This one felt like it maybe went high. So I tracked my dot kind of like that. And the second shot, first shot, I tracked the dot kind of like that, and the bolt's right there. Second one, I kind of tracked it up a little bit. So instead of messing with my right and left, I'm just gonna leave the right and left alone. I'm gonna bring it down 8 clicks. Kind of tracked my dot just to the top edge of the square, not too high. All right, so the shot was too low. I tracked it high. So either something's fucked up with the adjustments or I just brought it down too far, okay? Either way, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring it up 4 clicks and then I'm gonna go back to 50. So I'll do 4 clicks, tape up all these holes, and I'll go back to 50. Now for tape, this craft paper tape, I'll put a link in the description. This is the best tape you can get. It tears super easy. It sticks super well. Masking tape is garbage. Buy this craft paper tape. Also, this shit has been in the rain and I've been using the same roll for months. It is definitely my favorite tape for targets. You can get it in brown as well. Probably some other weirdo colors too, but I like white targets, especially when we get into zeroing iron sights, because I can actually see irons against a white target. And I'm actually gonna grab my spying scope. So here at 50, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna lay down prone. I'm gonna use my magazine to support the gun. My left hand, being a right-handed dude, is just gonna be up forward the way it normally is. And then I'm gonna have both elbows on the ground and I'm gonna have my ankles down. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close my eyes, breathe in, breathe out, open my eyes, and see if I'm on target or not. And if I'm not on target, I'm gonna make like the slightest adjustment ever, like you'll probably see my foot move or something. And then do the same thing, close my eyes, breathe in, breathe out, open my eyes, and then when I'm on target, I have a natural point of aim, as Pat McNamara likes to say, comfortably on target without muscular input. And I'm cheating everything now to make sure I have a good zero. This is another thing. When people say like, oh, well, I won't be shooting like that, so I ain't gonna zero my gun like that, that's retarded. You don't know what the fuck you're saying. You're zeroing your gun. Cheat everything, because when you're shooting, the only thing that should be making you miss is fucking you. It shouldn't be that you didn't zero your gun properly because you're like, well, I'm not gonna be prone at 50 yards, you know, using support and all that when I'm in self-defense. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, probably not, but also I'd like my gun to be as zeroed as possible. So if I fucked up and did some retarded shit when I was zeroing and then my gun's not really zeroed and then I shoot the wrong person because of that, that's a problem. Or, you know, say you don't shoot the wrong person, but you miss the guy and then he kills you or someone else, you're a dumbass. You're gonna bleed to death like a dumb fuck. So don't do that. Cheat everything when you zero. So I got the magazine on the ground. I want to also keep my glasses so that they're the center of my glasses are what's seeing the center of the dot. Ankles are down. Go ahead and put it on fire. Finger on, close my eyes. And dot is slightly low. And I just bump my knee up slightly. And it's pretty close. I'll go ahead and take it. And now, because we're back at 50, I'll actually shoot groups. I usually do 3 shots. That feels pretty good to me. When I do it, I'm doing a really smooth trigger press. Not slow, really smooth. Just adding ounces of pressure to the trigger until the shot breaks, but I'm still in control of it. It's not a fucking surprise. Now, I just looked through my spotting scope, which is a pretty cool spotting scope, and I saw that the rounds are right here. There's 3, they're going in a row like that, and it's about, we'll say, 2 inches right, 2 inches down from the center mark of the target. So we'll just go 3 up, 3 left, and we'll see where that gets us for the next grouping. If this is the target, we had the first 3. The next 3 are kind of straight up and down right above that. So I'm gonna do 3 more up, but the left didn't really do fucking anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 8 left. So 3 up and 8 left. So looking through the spine scope now, if this is the target, we have the 3, and then now I just see 1. 1 new hole. So I'm gonna actually go up there and take a look. This is where having a super Gucci awesome spine scope or something with more magnification is awesome, okay? This is a 16 power, and I don't see the other 2 shots that I know are supposed to be there. And unless my optic is totally fucked, we'll probably see them on paper. I could see them from back here if I was using better glass. Right. So for 50 yards, my first group was this. My second group was this. My third group is these 2 plus that one. What the fuck happened here? You know, that's where everyone's gonna make the joke like, oh, that guy, don't worry about that little guy.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy. Good enough for me. You're my man now.
No, let's worry about it. You know, it could be I pulled it and my brain was just in outer space and I didn't recognize that happening. Could be I'm not using the correct part of my shitty glasses and I'm causing parallax to happen. So if you got your head in a weird position and you have the dot lined up with a different part of your glasses, that causes issues. Or it could be I just took a training mag out and that round happens to be a different load than these 2 or any of these, so it wasn't ever going to hit the correct spot. But looking at this, I'm just gonna go 2 up and I'm gonna shoot at a new target this next time, okay? So I'll go ahead and tape over all that and then I'll shoot at a new square. Here's a nice thing too, when you're working with Sharpies and white tape, you can just always Sharpie back over it. So I could just reshoot this same target, but I feel like I'll be able to see the new one a little bit more clearly. Okay, so I just went 2 clicks up on the optic. I did not mess with the windage at all. And now I'm just gonna do a better job of making sure that I'm using the correct part of my glasses. So putting the dot perfectly in line with the center part of my glasses. And then also making sure that I have a perfect natural point of aim. So that's where you close your eyes, breathe in, breathe out, open your eyes, and you should still be on target. Like if that dot is off, just slightly adjust your body so the dot is on target. And again, it should be a comfortable position. Like you shouldn't be tensed up and muscling the gun into position. Okay, so we have the 2, 1, and 2, and then a flyer up here. I'll go ahead and blame myself for that. Now, I could keep going until the group is perfectly centered in here. However, knowing myself, I will wear out my eyes and I will spend too much time on this. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna take a break. And in a little bit, I'm gonna go to 200 yards and shoot there. I'm not gonna film and post the 200-yard version. Basically what I do is I take a steel target, get it very nicely painted so you can see where rounds are impacting. And I have a dude with a super awesome $5,000 spotting scope, Zorowski or whatever, watch my rounds. And once I have it so that the rounds are impacting at either the heart or the head, whichever one I can see, then I call it good on that 0. You could do it on paper, of course, but with the facility that I use, area strength facility, they have a steel target at 200, and then the range owner has a badass spotting scope. And so that's the way I go about it. But you could, of course, do it on paper too. Hey, another thing to consider is if you were zeroing irons, you could do the same thing on a target like right next to the target that you're doing red dot stuff on. I would just take a Sharpie and write red dot and write irons on the irons one, so that you don't mix it up and do crazy adjustments, because you're really starting to multitask when you do that. What you could also do is just set down your rifle and have, you know, say you got your dot zeroed, see what that dot's pointed at, and adjust it till the irons are also on target with whatever the dot's on target with, then go shoot and confirm. Or vice versa. Say you had irons on this, aim the irons at something, and then adjust the dot till the dot is aimed at that thing too, and then go shoot and confirm. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to Iron Pig Armament for providing the rifle. Super lightweight, super sweet. Really enjoy shooting it and handling it so far. And also it vibes hard as fuck with that long rail and 16-inch barrel and the truck gun sling. The whole setup, I actually really fucking dig it. And I got some videos on Iron Pig Armament guns coming out. I got one more in the car I gotta start shooting right now. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Keep fighting communism. Kill all pedophiles. If you want the t-shirt, go to my website. And remember that training saves lives.